Stephanie, welcome once again to another live stream. This is the Stephanie Mitchell Hughes Show. This is known as Resilience 2.0, and this is where we discuss all things to do with what it is to be resilient. Uh, Stephanie herself has been through a number of what she refers to as hard places to come to where she is now. And she tried to learn those lessons and apply them not just to her life, but as a commentary to the things she finds around her. And today is no different. We should be noting the fact that we are at the tail end. This is the tail end?
No, middle. Part way, just a little more than halved.
Okay, so it's partway through Suicide Prevention Month. And I know there is a propensity to have a month for all sorts of different things in the calendar, but this is a particularly important one because this is a time to focus on what it is to help people realize their self-worth and perhaps even help prevent those suicides so that the people that we treasure most stay with us for as long as possible. Stephanie, welcome.
Okay, hey Gareth. So I'm going to we've got two things on our docket, so to speak. And I'm just going to take point of personal privilege and spend a little bit more time talking about the second, because I think the second part of it, because I think that it definitely embodies resilience.
Of course.
So, but there's one thing I do want to say in terms of Suicide Prevention Month. One of the things that's really become important to me when I go and I tell my story, I'm in places and I'm telling my story. And one of the conversations that I don't think that we have, because it's uncomfortable. We don't know how to have the conversation.
It's a hard conversation to have.
It's a hard one. It's a hard conversation. So what? But one of the questions that I thought that just it doesn't make me angry, but I don't feel like it really opens the door to further conversation about suicide. So anytime a person who is high profile, if they are an actor in Hollywood or they're very well known in some way, very popular, if they die by suicide, then invariably the media will come and go to a place, a suicide prevention agency, mental health agency like a NAMI or the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, and they will ask, well, what are the signs that someone is suicidal? And I don't think that that's really, I think it's a fair question to ask. I will say that. It is a fair question to ask. It may even be a logical question to ask because, you want to talk about what the signs are, because if you know the signs, then maybe you can get someone some help. Right. But I think about the people who are left behind, the loved ones, the friends who are left behind to grapple with their grief in the wake, in the aftermath of a death by suicide. Okay. And if you say, well, what are the signs? Then if that was my mother, my father, my sister, my brother, my best friend, my favorite aunt, my work partner who I was extremely close to and knew really well, if then it's like, well, I should have known. If there were signs, I should have known those signs, because if I knew the signs, then I could have stopped them. There's something that I could have done to stop them. And it's not to say that suicide prevention programs don't work, because I absolutely, positively, unequivocally believe that they do. But suicide is a slippery slope. Suicide attempts, the whole conversation can become a slippery slope. And if you're someone like me who's run with this for such a long time, and you get to that moment where you're standing on that line between life and death, it's that one intimate moment where you're standing there and you're asking, am I going to walk over today? Am I going to step and move on to the step over and cross over to the other side today? And that is the moment that I'm talking about, where people are like, well, if only. And one of the things that I just want to leave people with and to encourage you to think about and remember is that if I've died by suicide, if I've taken or attempted to take my own life, it has nothing to do with wanting to die. I don't want to die. What I want to do is shut off the pain,
You just want to stop.
guilt.
You want to stop, don't you?
Yeah, I want to cut that off. And so it has little to do, nothing really to do with you and how much you loved me or how much you cared about me or what you did for me or our relationship and how close we are. But what it has to do with is me wanting to cut off the pain and the shame that I carry, and the guilt that I carry for whatever hurt I've exacted upon or suffering I've exacted up on my family because of my mental health condition and because I've been suicidal and all of that.
Right.
It doesn't, it doesn't. So what I encourage you to do, if you know someone who has died by suicide and that person is close to you, and don't stop with, well, what are the signs? And I could have stopped them. I should have known that that person was suicidal because I'm so close. Remember that the person's decision to take their life really has nothing to do with you and your relationship with them. It has to do with them wanting to cut the pain off. And so I want you, encourage you, those who are left in the aftermath, encourage you to release your guilt over if only, or I should have known, because you're navigating the grief that comes with death, mourning the death, losing a loved one. Grief by itself is a heavy, heavy thing to carry. Release the guilt. Don't carry the guilt. But
No,
navigate
because
your grief.
it's like a millstone around your neck.
Right.
And
Right.
and if you don't find a way to let it go, you'll drown under the pressure.
And it can affect your life. Before we came on, I was telling you, Gareth, about a woman who I know, who I met, and have met along the way in some of the work that I've done. And her father attempted to take his life by suicide 6 times.
Right.
And each time, starting when she was a child, still living at home, each time she and her mother managed to stop him. Well, life happens. Children grow up, they leave home.
Right.
Her father, unfortunately, completed his suicide on his 7th attempt. And, she's talked about thinking, well, I stopped him all these other times. If only I had been there, or I should have somehow known, maybe I would have been able to stop him. And I just want people to know, release your guilt, because grief by itself is hard enough to carry. So that is what that's the thing that I want to say with respect to Suicide Prevention Month. Okay, so we're now going to shift gears here a little bit.
In many ways, you couldn't be shifting gears more completely.
Yeah, I'm shifting gears, and we're shifting in the conversation that we've got going here, because Now, you know, Gareth, I don't really talk a lot about my private life. I don't talk a lot about my family. That is just to me by design, because I do what I do because I enjoy doing it and I have a purpose and a mission, and I'm really just trying to help other people
Right.
along the way. Because one of the things that I know is that you never ever learn a lesson for your own personal benefit. I know I haven't learned the life lessons that I have learned for my personal benefit. I
Right.
learn it because I have a responsibility and obligation to share my story with other people. Having said that, I now have to do an amazing shout out to the Indiana Fever,
Woo-hoo.
WNBA Indiana Fever professional women's basketball team, because this season they have been the complete embodiment of resilience. So, for those of you who don't know, and it's probably almost everybody, I have a niece who plays for the Indiana Fever. She is an amazing, tremendous, extremely talented basketball player who has, over the years since she started playing basketball at 4, and as she has perfected her game and perfected her craft, she has gone on to break all kinds of records. And this season with the Indiana Fever, this is her 10th season in the WNBA, in the league. She has played all 10 seasons, or I think it's 10 seasons. It might be less than that. 8 seasons, maybe 8 seasons, 7 or 8 seasons, because she was drafted number 2 by the Indiana Fever in the WNBA draft that occurred in 2018. And so, she has, this season, she has gone on to break records, long held records, by the extremely other talented players in the WNBA. And so this season, for those of you who don't know, the Indiana Fever has been plagued by injuries, serious injuries to those who play, the starting members of their lineup. Starting, I think, with Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark sustained a groin injury early in the season, or I think maybe even before the season started, and was out. And then you had other players like Sophie Cunningham and some of the other players who sustained very serious injuries. And it got to the point throughout as the season progressed, they had to sign other players to contracts to help them finish out the season. And through all of that, despite the fact that they almost have an entirely new team over the course of the season, they have managed to at least make it through round 1 of the playoffs. And that has been tremendous. And that's a tremendous accomplishment, because you've got a new team and you've got to build the cohesiveness to have a team so that everybody knows each other well enough to play and to play competitively.
Right.
And so last night they had a nail biter of a game against the Atlanta Dream, and they managed to pull it out. And so my niece, for those of you who don't know and haven't been able to guess due to my maiden name, is Kelsey Mitchell. She is my niece, and I will admit and acknowledge that of everyone in my family, right down to my little great nieces, I am the least basketball person and sports person in my whole family. You don't see me sitting around watching it and hanging out with it, but yeah, I am the least. And so I watched little bits and pieces here and there, and then go back and do whatever. And so, but I did send her a message yesterday once the game was over saying that, for the record, you almost gave me a heart attack in the last minutes of the game, because I mean, right down, if there were seconds left on the clock.
Down to the wire, we call that.
Right down to the wire. Right down. I thought, oh my gosh, because the way they did the playoffs, I don't know if this is different this year, but they started playing, they played the Atlanta Dream in Atlanta, and unfortunately they lost that game. Then they went back to Indianapolis and played there on the Fevers court. They won that game handily. And then yesterday they had to go back to Atlanta, and they had to play back in Atlanta Dream territory. And fortunately, and as I watched the bits and pieces that I watched, I just thought, oh my gosh, I can't look, because this is, but it just goes to show you that even from the mouth of a non-sports person, you've just got to hang in there in the game until the very end. And so
it ain't over until it's over. And
that's right. You got to keep playing right till the last second, because you never know when someone is going to pull it out. So I guess there is a note about resilience from here. Oh, definitely.
It takes character, and it takes purpose, direction, and self-belief.
Right.
To keep pushing through, even though your spidey senses might be telling you it's all over.
Right. And not pay attention. Because see, okay, so this season, one of the things, and my niece, because she played in this was her third All-Star game that she was in. And so there were some things that they had asked family members to do, and I wrote a letter. I'm not really sure what they were going to do with the letter, but I did write this letter. And one of the things that I said in that letter, and I've said this to my niece, my brother was her huge supporter, and her mom too, my brother and sister-in-law, because my sister-in-law played basketball in college.
And your brother was a coach after all.
Yeah, he was. He was a basketball coach.
So he had irons in the fire, as it were.
Oh, he did. So he was her coach. He taught her so much, told her what she needed to do, and things that she continues to do. But he basically left an imprint on her that really shaped her, the way that she played the game. And so the thing that I have seen in her this season, even sometimes if I've been watching with my hands over my eyes because I can't look, I have seen my brother pouring out, literally just pouring out of her as she has run up and down the court.
So but here's a note.
Just everything of him pouring out of her.
So here's a note. In a way, she is a living testimony to his life's work.
Yeah, she is.
And in truth, I don't think you can ever have a better testimony to what you do than someone else vicariously living their lives through yours.
I mean, just what? And so, because my brother and his wife, my sister-in-law, they had two sets of twins. The first set were boys, the girls afterwards, and all of them played basketball. I have a nephew, one of Kelsey's brothers, plays basketball in Mexico right now.
Right.
And they have a tremendous love for that game.
Right.
And so when my nieces and nephews absolutely adored their father. They adored my brother, and his loss has been it's been a tremendous loss for our entire family. But she did not, Kelsey, in playing, and because the league, last year in 2024, the league, the WNBA, their league started a few weeks after my brother died.
Right.
And my niece continued getting up every day and going out and doing the drills and playing and all of the things that my brother told her to do and taught her to do. But she dug deep all last season. And I know it was hard. And I know it was hard this season to look up, and if she looked up in the stands and she didn't see my brother, or she wasn't picking up the phone after the games were over and talking to him, and they would go over the games, and he would, do strategy, do assessment, evaluation, critique, whatever the word is.
Right.
And so the thing I just marvel at her when I watch her is her ability to dig very deep and pull that excellence, that competitiveness, that hard work that it took and that it takes to play at the level required in the WNBA, because the women in the WNBA don't play for the money. They make a fraction of what the professional men make. They play purely for the love of the game. And I marvel at them. And so, I want to really give a shout out to my niece, Kelsey Mitchell, and the Indiana Fever, because they have now progressed. They are now advancing to the next step of the semifinals. And I think this is the first time that the Indiana Fever have been in the playoffs since maybe 2015 or 2016. I think that's right. And so I applaud them. I applaud all of the young women, Aaliyah Boston and Natasha, whose last name I can't recall right now, and all of the young women who have even come alongside, even though they joined the Fever, being called up and really stepping in to help that team and to help them keep going. So they are, for me, they have embodied resilience for a variety of all the reasons that we've discussed.
As usual, another varied discussion. I hope you enjoyed both ends. I realize that perhaps the first part was quite sobering, but always love celebrating people who are taking the reins and running with it. Thank you once again, Stephanie Mitchell-Hughes. And we are here fairly regularly, hopefully more regularly. See us hopefully next Friday. Until then, try and keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the stars. And for goodness sake, please do look after your mental health. Just be kind to yourself. Until next week. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks, Gareth.